The Israel-Iran conflict may be far from our shores, but its ripple effects hit close to home, from rising fuel prices to the safety of our overseas Filipino workers. To help us navigate this complex situation, we're joined by Israeli Ambassador Ilan Fluss. He'll share his key insights on what Filipino investors, exporters, and families should be watching in the weeks ahead. Good morning, Ambassador Fluss, and thank you for being here with us.
Good morning, Mikey. Good to be with you once again. Thank you.
Yeah, last we spoke, it was one war. Now there are two. So let's get to it. Ambassador Fluss, we'll start with an overview of this new conflict. Israel and Iran have been regional rivals for decades. What exactly is unfolding on the ground right now, and why should Filipinos be paying close attention?
Maybe just to say one word, it's important to remember that until 1979, until the revolution, we had very close relations with Iran then. It was a secular regime, different regime, and Israel and Iran were actually very, very close. Of course, new regime, different agendas, and unfortunately complicated efforts of the Iranian regime that led to the situation today. The conflict erupted because of Iranian goal or plan to annihilate the state of Israel. And this is something that we have heard again and again from the Iranian leadership. So they had a vision, they had a goal, and if you combine it with their actions, which were the nuclear program, which were the weaponization of the program, which were the ballistic missile program, and all of them have been accelerated in the last few years, and especially in the last few months, together with the failure of the diplomatic process and the negotiations with Iran to the level of non-compliance with the IAEA, the International Atomic Energy Agency. You put everything together, you understand Israel has an imminent threat to its very existence, and this is why Israel had to attack to remove those immediate threats, which were what's happening today, where we are attacking, when we are focusing in our attacks only on military facilities and people who are connected to the nuclear program and to the ballistic missile program. This is happening until now, and of course, Iran is retaliating and is launching missiles and drones against Israel, including a few hours ago. Israelis, there was an alert. Israelis went into the shelters and the safety room. This is about 4.5 hours ago, but thank God the missiles were intercepted, and there were a few drones that were intercepted, and there was no damage in Israel.
Ambassador Fluss, Israel's goal is to stop Iran from having nuclear capabilities. Since launching your campaign last week, what progress have you made to make sure that they don't have these capabilities?
It's important to say we had to remove the military or the a possibility that they will have a nuclear bomb. That's very different. The nuclear plan was not for civilian research and was not for energy. This is very obvious, and even the IAEA had its different reports on the hidden agenda or the hidden activities of Iran. So that's very important to note. Since Friday last week, first of all, we had to remove all the anti-aircraft systems that Iranian had in place, and this was done very, very quickly. And since then, we have been attacking mostly Western Iran and Tehran in order to basically destroy the facilities, the infrastructure, which has been really, the attacks were very effective and a big amount, and I cannot give you the exact amount. I'm not part of the operations themselves, but a big amount of this capability of launching missiles have been destroyed. Regarding the nuclear plan, we targeted also the scientists who were leading the nuclear program, and they have been eliminated. This is an important part of a program. You need the expertise. It's not something so simple. So we eliminated both the leadership who was really implementing the program, of course, and planning, and also part of the facilities.
The world is watching with bated breath, Ambassador Fluss. Apart from avoiding a wider conflict, of course, nuclear war is something that no one wants to see. At this point, Ambassador Fluss, how important is the U.S.'s military support?
I think, first of all, it's important to say that we have removed an imminent threat to the existence of the State of Israel, but we have removed a threat to the world at large. I mean, the missile range of Iran today is 2,000 kilometers, which means that also Europe, it's in the range. And of course, not to mention the neighboring countries. So it's a threat to the stability and peace of the region, and to that, of course, of the world. So I do believe that end of this conflict, actually, I think we'll see a more stable region, which means a more stable world. Regarding the US, of course, I need to let the US talk on behalf of the US government. The US is a very important strategic ally of the State of Israel, and there's a lot of coordination and collaboration. The attacks are being done by the Israeli Defense Forces, by the IDF alone.
Yeah, no one knows what the U.S. is going to do or how far they're going to go. Trump overnight said that the U.S. may or may not join the war. Can Israel win this war, the two wars it's fighting as a whole, without U.S. support?
Well, as you can see, we have decided to launch those attacks without the involvement of the US because we have to protect ourselves. We have, thank God, we have a very quality and we have good technologies, and the Air Force is operating. What will be, again, as I said, I cannot predict what will be the US next moves, but Israel will make sure to remove the threat and to eliminate as many components of this threat.
Okay, understood. Now, Russian President Vladimir Putin has offered to help mediate. Is there a realistic pathway to peace at this junction?
I think it's we realize that this operation is not an operation of 1 or 2 days. It will take time because Iran had invested in a lot of infrastructure in different places. So it will take time, and we are patient. I don't think it. So we are estimating a few weeks. So it's difficult to say, but I do want to emphasize that this is not the time yet to talk about de-escalation, because we're in the middle of this operation, and when we will feel that the mission has been accomplished and there's no threat to Israel, then of course we can talk about the next stages. But currently, Israeli civilians are still sitting in safety rooms, in shelters, and are patient because we understand the importance of this operation. And it will continue as long as we feel that we did not remove those imminent threats.
At this stage, Ambassador Fluss, how real is the threat of nuclear war?
I think this operation actually removed the threat of a nuclear war because Iran, as you understand, we launched this attack, this operation on Friday in order to make sure that Iran was very close to that capability, and they had already enough uranium for, according to estimates, 9 bombs. 3 of them, the enrichment of uranium, were done only in the last few months. So they were really racing towards that goal, and we have removed this threat. So again, I'm not an expert. I'm a diplomat, but it seems I don't expect to see a nuclear war. We are not there.
Okay, that's good to hear. Ambassador Fluss, energy and logistics are top of mind globally. Here in the Philippines, oil prices have already gone up. The Strait of Hormuz is a vital artery to the world. Global energy, 20% of the world's oil flows through that strait. How real is the risk to disruption there?
Well, I think you need an energy expert, but according to I was following a little bit about on this issue. Of course, the prices of energy went a little bit up, and then I think yesterday or 2 days ago they already went a little bit down. because until now we are seeing that there's no real impact. The hormones are, I mean, the movement is still free, so we don't see real interruptions currently now. And it seems that the markets are, of course, they're anxious, but at this stage they are stable and the supply continues. But of course, what will happen and what will the Iranian regime do is something that we cannot predict. I cannot predict. From the Israeli point of view, it is very important to say that we are very, very specific in what we are doing. We're not creating instability. We're not attacking anything that is not related to the nuclear program and to the ballistic missile program. We're focusing only on the imminent threat to Israel.
Okay, understood. Speaking of the imminent threat to the Philippines, how can we prepare? Malacanang is watching closely. From your perspective, what can the Philippines do to brace for the immediate economic and social impacts of this war and perhaps a protracted one?
Well, it's not my place to give advice how to manage an economy of a country. I can share the experience in Israel, and I can tell you that we are continuing in promoting business collaborations and activities, myself and of course other ambassadors, because economy needs continuity, the Israeli economy depends a lot on the international economy. We are an island country from that perspective of the economy. We need international connectivity, and we're certainly working in order to do it. We're seeing the Israeli economy, the Israeli stock exchange did not collapse. First day there was a little bit of going down, but it already went up again. So even we're in a war since October 7, 2023, the Israeli economy is proving itself to be very resilient. We continue to have, you just reported before about the big deal for $13 billion in Israeli startup. An Israeli company was sold to Google for $23 billion just a few months ago. So we're seeing that even with this war or certain level of instability, if you're focusing on the core strengths of your economy, things will continue.
Mm-hmm. Onto the OFW front, Ambassador Fluss. There are about 2 million OFWs in the Middle East. How many now are in Israel? And no, these are the people who opted to stay even despite the war with Hamas. Now there is the war with Iran. Do you see these numbers of Filipinos in Israel decreasing by much? And what are those numbers as of today?
So it's important. This is a very important question. The war or this operation is very, very focused. We are not targeting civilians, and we have informed the civilians who are close to military establishments that are connected to the operation to move from those areas. So I don't think the Filipinos in other places are under attack. Of course, Israel, the civilian population is under constant attack of Iran, but we put in place the safety mechanisms that are helping both Israelis and OFWs and Filipinos alike. We have a 10 minutes warning when a ballistic missile is launched towards Israel. We have all the systems in place. We have an early warning. We have 10 minutes in order to get into a safe room or into a shelter. People get this by SMS. There is an app. And of course, there are sirens who go on 1.5 minutes before the missile might fall. And we have all the systems to predict where will be the area that it might fall. So it's very, very precise. Filipinos in Israel are following the same protocols and procedures as any other Israeli. They are part of our families, part of our community. From what I hear, most Filipinos, most OFWs, including the caregiver of my father-in-law, feel safe. They're feeling okay. They're not in panicking. Of course, there are some OFWs who have requested to be repatriated. According to figures I have since the October 7 attack by Hamas against Israel, we have close to 1,200 OFWs who have requested to be repatriated. Most of them basically ended their contracts. From what I understand this week, there's going to be another small group of OFWs who will be going back to the Philippines, assisted by the Philippine government. I had a coordination meeting yesterday with Secretary Kakdak. The Israeli government, of course, will facilitate, will help. And maybe just one word, because you mentioned before in the report regarding the two groups, the 21 Filipinos who were in Israel, and they were in Israel. They are, part of them were a delegation of mayors and local government officials. Others came from the agricultural sector. They were in Israel for both two different study visits, because Israel has a lot to offer to the Philippines, and we're looking for a lot of collaborations. They were our guests. We took care of them. We made sure that also when they're staying in a facility, the facility was safe, sort of from Friday morning, and where the Israeli government has facilitated their passage into Jordan and through Jordan. We have bought the tickets. This was fully sponsored by the Israeli government, and we took responsibility to help them make the way from the training areas or from the hotel where they were staying all the way back to Manila. This is our responsibility, being a country which is hosting those officials. And we, of course, all of this was done in coordination with the Philippine embassy and Philippine government.
Mm-hmm. Of course, we are looking forward to that time when peace returns so that we can really focus on strengthening the bilateral relations between the two nations. On another front, Ambassador Fluss, your time here in the Philippines ends in July. How is the transition process coming along, and what are the priorities that are going to be maintained to strengthen Philippine and Israel ties as we shift to a new leadership at the embassy?
Well, I know very well my successor, a woman ambassador, and she's very capable, and she has a lot of experience in the foreign service. I think she will, in a way, will see continuity from one side, but of course, each person brings new agendas. Also, the things, the challenges and the policies here change, and we will adopt it, and also from the Israeli side. But I can just give you one example. We just had a meeting just earlier this morning with Converge, with Mr. Denis Uy, looking at future opportunities, and we are not stopping. Sort of, as I said before, the wheels of economy are slow, but we have to continuously work in creating those partnerships and establishing business relationships. So for sure, there will be a continuity in our approach to the Philippines, which is, from one side, of course, we have government collaborations in different sectors, but the very important element here is private sector, and to have joint ventures and private sector interactions in order to identify opportunities. And we'll focus again, and I always say that Israel is a country of innovation and technology. And my agenda when I came here, my vision is building bridges of innovation and technology between Israel and the Philippines, introducing solutions that we have in Israel and adapting them to the challenges in the Philippines. We have seen this already bearing fruit. We have seen different projects which are, for an example, in food security and agricultural productivity, which is a vision of the president, and we are joining this vision, and we're already seeing joint ventures who are contributing in this direction. And I can tell you that my successor will continue in this direction.
Okay. Thank you for your time, Ambassador Ilan Fluss. As they say in Hebrew, Atoda Rabba. And may peace be with you, Israel, the region, and thank you so much.
Thank you very much, and shalom.